Hi there, this is Jennifer Walzer from the New York City chapter, and you are watching EOtv.
Hi, welcome to EOtv. I'm Randall Mauricio.
And I'm Terry Apostle. Randall, what are you doing?
Hey, just taking a deep breath, some advice I learned in Eric Bollander's tip last week, of course.
Well, I think we even have more good advice on the way today.
Yeah, you're right. We'll tell you why it's a good move to set up shop in a fragile state.
We'll also get some insight into small business economics.
So let's kick this thing off, huh?
Are you thinking of establishing a business in an emerging market? EO New York member and author of Fixing Fragile States, A New Paradigm for Development, Seth Kaplan, says entrepreneurs have shied away from establishing business in certain parts of Africa and the Middle East because of the fragile economic structures of these countries. However, today, Kaplan explains how entrepreneurship in these fragile states can be economically and financially beneficial to both the business owner and the country. Take a look.
Fragile states are those states on this continuum that work less well. The governments may not control their territory. The public services may be somewhat bad or even awful or even non-existent. But there's about 60 fragile states in the world, everything from Afghanistan, Iraq, Pakistan to many parts of Africa. After all, the wealth, the opportunity our societies have is because of business. We need proper regulation. We need to act ethically. We need to think of the bigger picture, just not our own profits, but companies do among the greatest good in the world when we offer better products for customers, when we create wealth, when we create employment opportunities, when we help the societies by giving people a chance to advance. We do that in our country. If you're taking your company to a difficult environment, you're selling your products in Africa, in the Middle East, in the poor countries of Asia, this book will be a great start to understand some of the social or political problems of these countries, and gives you a whole new way to view how the countries operate and what are some of the challenges you might face when you go there. If you're going to work in the Middle East, if you're going to work in Africa, you're going to work in parts of South America, I think it's very crucial that that you are very sure that when you deal with government officials, when you deal with the financial systems, when you're selling products, that you are first trying to follow the legal system, that you're not in some indirect way helping people who may have, as we say, motives which may not be in our own self-interest. Studies repeatedly show that companies earn much higher margins in poor countries if they are dealing with the problems appropriately, because there's less competition, there's many untapped opportunities. And if we were to do business in Pakistan, we were to do business in Iraq, by promoting business, promoting employment, not only in many cases, if we're smart, we should be making money for ourselves, but we're also indirectly opening up new opportunities for people there and helping the society get stronger such that it can fight these problems. The best way to do business in these countries actually is to work with the fabric of society, the fabric of the culture, to the extent that we just bring in a branch and import our own ideas. I would say the most obvious thing is training people, passing responsibility to people, giving local people opportunity. This is in your own self-interest, because to be successful in these countries, you're going to have to adapt your strategy, adapt your cost structure, adapt your products, adapt your marketing methods, and in many cases, we ourselves are not going to be knowledgeable enough to do this. So hiring local people, training them, giving them responsibility, bringing them over to see how we do things, and then understanding how to give them broad goals, but allowing them the freedom to localize and adapt to fit their environments. This is very important for us to be successful and very important if you want to train and develop local people.
The last year has shown many entrepreneurs any state can become a fragile one. The economy has made nominal strides towards recovery, but when will you see a positive change in your business? SmartMoney.com small business finance writer Diana Ransom recently wrote an article on the economic indicators affecting entrepreneurs. Today, she shares her findings.
So in the story, we looked at 5 economic indicators. Specifically, we looked at the personal consumption expenditures. What this one basically is consumption. Generally speaking, you want to know if consumers are buying, and this indicator would be helpful in terms of whether or not people are actually going to be purchasing. So if you knew that this indicator was on the rise, for example, you potentially, as a retailer, for example, might want to purchase more products for the upcoming holiday season or something like that. The next indicator, which is consumer confidence, is very, very similar to the personal consumption expenditures. Basically what you would want to do, what you show in this one, is how confident consumers are feeling. If they are, confident that they're going to have their job tomorrow, they're going to probably be more likely to spend. So the next indicator that we looked at was the producer price index. Essentially what this one is it tells you about how much you as the business owner are paying for the materials that you put into production. So if you know that this index is on the rise, for example, then that's an indicator that your costs are going to go up. And this is actually a really tricky indicator during a downturn too, because if your costs are rising, you're going to probably want to raise your prices so that way you can make up the difference. But in a downturn, it's actually counterproductive to do that because people are more price sensitive. So you might even be pushing people away from purchasing your products if you raise prices. So in general, during a downturn, business owners tend to get squeezed if this indicator goes up. So the next indicator we looked at was currency. Essentially what you want to look at here is if your domestic currency is, for example, trading at a lower rate than foreign currencies, that is essentially a good thing for you if you're an exporter, because that means that your prices suddenly look more attractive abroad. So it's in a way it's similar to the producer price index, where if currency starts going up, if you only have a domestic market, you might be paying more for things. The final indicator we looked at in this story was the unemployment rate. Now this is a lagging indicator, so this isn't going to show you what the unemployment rate is going to be like next year, or even it will doubtfully even give you any indication of what the economy is really like now. But the helpful thing about it is if it's high, for example, you can pretty much bet that people aren't going to be feeling very confident about the economy. If you're a restaurant and you serve breakfast, and generally you relied on those people who, before they headed to the office, they came in and got a quick sandwich. Once they're unemployed, they're not coming in for a quick sandwich anymore. So it's an indication of how you can expect and plan for your business. Previously, I would have said inflation was a potential worry. But a recent producer price index indicator came out and actually sort of debunked that for the time being. After food and energy was taken out of the equation, the index came out flat for the month, so that means that inflation just wasn't doing anything. So basically that's not something to worry about right now, but in general I would keep looking at the unemployment rate. I'd also keep looking at the indicators that matter to your business. If you are in the construction business, for example, you might want to look at housing starts or the rate of foreclosures. Sort of be logical about it. If you are in retail, look at retail sales. Try to be as custom with your indicators as possible.
Well, that brings us to the end of this webcast, Terry.
And you know what that means. Of course, it's time for your motivational thought.
Yes, I have one that will make you think. Never make the same mistake twice. There's so many new ones, so try a different one each day.
Okay, and how many mistakes have you made today?
None. Absolutely none. I'm that perfect, Terry.
Of course you are, Randall.
And you know what? The always perfect Andrea Collins will be here next week with your tip of the week.
And of course, we're looking forward to that.
Until then, we hope you have a mistake-free week. And as will I.
I'll try.
Yeah, I am lying, of course.